Top 10 Most Terrifying Haunted Dolls of All Time. Mandy, Robert, Annabelle, and others are infamous haunted dolls around the world. They are believed to be possessed by malevolent spirits, bringing misfortune and casting curses upon their owners. 1. Mandy Doll. The story begins in 1991 when a woman named Marianda gifted this doll to the Quesnel Museum in British Columbia, Canada. She recounted being awakened one night by an unfamiliar cry from the basement. Upon investigation, she found the window wide open and an old doll sitting on it, staring intently at her. Overwhelmed with fear, she decided to give the doll to the museum, and it was named Mandy. Mandy is believed to have been manufactured in England or Germany around 1910 or 1920. Its clothes are now worn out, and its face bears numerous cracks. Initially, many considered Mandy to be an ordinary doll, but strange occurrences soon began to unfold. Firstly, museum staff couldn't find their lunches, even though they had placed them securely in the refrigerator. After an extensive search, they discovered them tucked away in a small drawer. Even more peculiar, other belongings of the staff started mysteriously moving around. Every night, the museum security guards reported hearing footsteps in the vicinity, yet they could never find anyone present. Due to mounting suspicions, an investigation into Mandy's origins commenced. However, nobody knew where Mandy came from or how it came to be. All that was known was that this doll seemingly possessed an extraordinary and accumulated power over the years. Initially placed near the entrance, Mandy's cracked face, enigmatic smile, and unsettling gaze unsettled many visitors. Eventually, Mandy was relocated to a separate room. Curiously, whenever people attempted to film or take pictures of Mandy, the footage would be obscured by a strange light, and all the cameras would abruptly shut off after about 5 seconds. When taken to other rooms within the museum, these same cameras would function normally. Several visitors have recounted feeling an ever-watchful presence when visiting the museum. Occasionally, people claim to have seen Mandy's eyes blinking or the doll moving to a different position, only to return to its original spot in the blink of an eye. 2. The Legend of Robert Doll. The American doll known as Robert is considered the most famous haunted doll. Robert is said to have inspired the creation of the terrifying doll character Chucky in the popular movie Child's Play. Robert belonged to its owner, Robert Eugene Otto. In 1906, a Bahamian maid handcrafted a doll approximately 91 cm tall and gifted it to young Eugene. Many believe that this maid cursed the toy after Eugene's parents mistreated her. Soon after the maid left, mysterious events began to occur, causing trouble for the Otto family. Eugene named the doll after himself and enjoyed conversing with it, claiming that the doll would respond. They also said that the toy could change expressions at will, and even move around the house on its own. Neighbors reported seeing the doll move from one window to another when the Otto family was away. Family members claimed to hear chilling, eerie laughter coming from the doll. Robert Doll caused numerous unusual incidents during the day, but at night it seemed to focus on playing with young Eugene Robert. Objects in the house would break or disappear on their own. Glassware and silverware in the dining room would fall and shatter, clothes would tear and rip on their own, and bed sheets would crumple and become tattered. Young Eugene Robert gradually grew weak and began behaving strangely. Every night he would sneak out of the window and wander around in the darkness. When his parents started to take notice and complain, they realized something was amiss. Eugene would always insist, "Robert did it," and that's when people started speculating that the doll itself was causing these incidents. Over time, the strange stories continued to unfold, and Eugene Robert's family members, one by one, passed away under suspicious circumstances. Even after Eugene got married, the eerie events persisted. From the moment they married, Eugene made an agreement with his wife that Robert must always be by their side. However, disaster struck nonetheless, as the doll seemed to desire Eugene for itself. Shortly after their wedding, Eugene's wife inexplicably went insane and died under unknown circumstances. When Eugene passed away, Robert was passed on to a new owner. However, this new owner also couldn't escape the doll's haunting and torment. Overwhelmed with fear, the new owner quickly got rid of Robert, and it was eventually handed over to the Martello Museum in Key West. Even when placed in the museum, many people recount that the doll would curse anyone who took its photo without permission. If Robert agreed, it would nod its head slightly, indicating consent. Visitors who forgot to ask for permission had to return to ask for forgiveness because the photos they took during their visit would mysteriously be ruined, with their cameras malfunctioning afterwards. 3. Annabelle Doll. In 1970, a woman came across a charming doll named Annabelle while browsing through an antique shop and decided to buy it as a gift for her daughter. Her daughter loved Annabelle and placed it on her bedside table. However, shortly after, strange phenomena started to occur. The doll would move on its own from one room to another, even when untouched. Old scraps of parchment would appear with scribbled, childish handwriting. There were days when the doll would even stand upright on fabric-made legs. Terrified by these occurrences, the girl's mother sought out psychic investigators to unravel the mysteries surrounding these strange events. It was revealed that Annabelle Doll housed the spirit of a young girl who had passed away in the vicinity where the house was built. The spirit claimed to be fond of her current owner and wished to stay. The family agreed and continued to keep the doll in their home. However, the paranormal activities only escalated. A male friend who visited the house was viciously attacked by the doll, resulting in deep scratches on his abdomen and chest. The girl decided to contact renowned paranormal investigators, a couple, who revealed that the spirit residing within the doll was not that of a young girl, but rather a deceitful demon who sought to possess and manipulate young girls. Overwhelmed with fear, the owner of Annabelle ultimately decided to donate the doll to the Warrens Occult Museum, located in Moodus Village, East Haddam, Connecticut, where it would be kept under close watch. 4. Patty Reed Doll. Patty Reed, an 8-year-old girl, was part of a family journey to California in 1846, which met with disaster during an unexpected snowstorm that forced them to resort to desperate measures to survive, including consuming hides, fur, and eventually resorting to cannibalism. During their journey, Patty was instructed to leave behind unnecessary belongings to reduce the load, but she insisted on keeping her doll. Both Patty's doll and her family were fortunate enough to be rescued. Currently, the Patty Reed doll is displayed at the Sutter's Fort State Historic Park Museum in Sacramento, California. People speculate that this doll may be haunted due to witnessing the gruesome scene of human beings resorting to cannibalism during their fateful journey. 5. Voodoo Zombie Doll. The Voodoo Zombie Doll originates from New Orleans and was sold through eBay to a woman in Galveston, Texas. The eBay listing included specific rules for the doll's owner, stating that it should not be removed from the tightly pinned silver plate. However, the woman broke the rules and suffered severe consequences. The woman claimed to be haunted by the doll every night as it entered her dreams and attacked her. Unable to withstand the doll's tormenting nights, she resold it on eBay once again. Most recently, it came into the possession of a paranormal investigator who hopes to unravel the mysteries surrounding the Voodoo Zombie Doll. 6. Joliet doll Mrs. Anna is currently in possession of a doll named Joliet, which was inherited from her late grandmother. For 4 generations, the women in her family have been cursed. Each of them gives birth to 2 children, a boy and a girl, but the baby boy always mysteriously dies after just 3 days. Mrs. Anna reveals that the Joliet doll was given to her late grandmother as a gift from her enemy while she was pregnant. Soon after, her own baby boy passed away under inexplicable circumstances at 3 days old. The strange occurrences did not stop there. Every night, unsettling laughter and eerie screams can be heard within Anna's house. They believe it to be the cries of the cursed children haunted by the malevolent Joliet doll over the years. 7. Devil Baby Doll. The story takes place in the 1800s when a wealthy girl married a Scottish man. Her jealous ex-lover sought revenge and sought out a powerful voodoo practitioner named Marie Laveau. Laveau cursed the young bride, causing her to die shortly after giving birth to a terrifying-looking child. People claimed the child to be the offspring of Satan, with 2 horns on its forehead. Laveau took the child home and raised it until her death. When the child passed away, it was buried next to Laveau's grave in the Saint-Louis Cemetery. The people of New Orleans were terrified of the devil baby. It would often lurk in the shadows and alleyways, causing mischief to anyone it encountered. To protect themselves, the villagers carved the image of the satanic child on pumpkins and hung them outside their doors to ward off the devil. One of these dolls still exists today but has been lost. In the 20th century, artist Riccardo Pustiano acquired all these dolls and produced various versions for sale. His customers claimed that the dolls would secretly gaze at them, leading them to believe that the dolls were possessed and inhabited by evil spirits. 8. Pulau Ubin Babies Doll. The baby's doll only becomes terrifying when it is requested to be purchased by the spirit of a young girl from beneath her grave. During World War I, the British Empire colonized many territories around the world, and in 1914, they arrested a German couple in Singapore on suspicion of being spies. While they were captured, their daughter managed to escape and fell into a deep ravine. The local people of Pulau Ubin built a small shrine to commemorate the unfortunate girl. In 2007, a man was disturbed by a young girl in his dreams for 3 consecutive nights. She appeared and persistently urged him to go to a toy store and buy a baby's doll. After the 3rd night, he visited the store and saw the exact doll that the girl had shown him in his dream. He purchased the doll and placed it on the grave of the young girl. Since then, visitors who come to the girl's grave bring small items such as perfume and lipstick as offerings to her spirit. They hope that her soul finds peace in the afterlife. 9. Victorian Weeping Doll. This doll dates back over 150 years ago, during the Victorian era. During this time, child mortality was high. By the late 19th century, owning a weeping doll and placing it with a deceased child was a common practice. These dolls were often made of wax, and their hair would be the actual hair of the deceased child. They would be dressed in the child's clothing, and people would weep for them as if they were real. While not necessarily haunted, these dolls symbolized the deceased children, and their incorporation of real hair added an eerie element to them. 10. Peggy Doll Peggy is a famous haunted doll in England, owned by paranormal researcher Jane Harris, who leads a small organization called Haunted Doll. The doll's previous owner, a woman who was frightened by its effects, handed it over to Jane. Peggy is believed to have the power to manipulate people's dreams, warning or haunting them. Spiritual researchers who have studied this doll believe it is connected to the Nazi genocide, while Jane believes that the spirit within the doll died due to respiratory issues, possibly from toxic fumes. In 2015, Peggy caused a stir in the media when an article was written about her. Approximately 80 readers reported having negative experiences after seeing the doll's photo. Some felt nauseous, while others became panicked. Jane requested that the doll no longer harm people, but it seems to have been ineffective. In fact, one woman died of a heart attack after encountering it. The mysteries remain unsolved. Despite investigations and research conducted on all 10 cases, it seems that all suspicions have reached a dead end. Researcher Joshua P. Warren suggests that there is an energy source surrounding these dolls. It appears that deep inside each doll, there is a real human presence. While some suspicions have been identified, the mysteries surrounding these haunted dolls remain unanswered questions.